Okay, time to clean up and reassemble this 502 Coleman stove. Okay, put all my parts I'm going to boil in vinegar in this canister, which is basically all the brass parts. And I'm going to go ahead and boil the burner bowl just to clean it up a little bit, but I'm not going to put it in there very long, so I'll put it last. But getting ready to put this generator in there. But there is a, up in the tip of these things, there is a real fine piece of brass mesh, a little filter like up in the tip. They're not really needed. They don't put them in the newer ones. But I want to try to get that out of there. A lot of times you put these brushes in there and give them a twist. See what happens. Because they will bend up the tip of your tip cleaner. They catch that mesh when you put it in. There it is. What I was talking about. Put that back in my bucket. So I don't lose this little tip, I'm going to screw it back in there. I'm going to put the needle back in there just for safekeeping while it's in the vinegar bowl. I'm not going to boil that because it's painted and I don't want to bring that coating off. Okay, I've got some vinegar in there already. See if we can top it off. See if we got enough left in this bottle to cover the parts. As y'all can probably hear, I've already got my stove going on in the background. Just gonna set that up there on the stove. Let that come to a good boil. I'm gonna boil those parts, all those brass and some of the steel parts, about 20 minutes. 15 minutes on the steel, probably, because they're not really rusty. And 20 to 30 minutes on the brass. Okay, while those parts are boiling, I'm gonna take some glass cleaner. Spray that down, let it soak a minute, and let's wipe it off. Okay, I got my parts. So don't want to boil very long. Get them out of the vinegar. Don't want to boil these plated parts in there very long because they may hurt that plating. One rust spot right in here. It's not too bad. Okay, I'm going to attempt to heat up and straighten this grate out a little bit. Okay, I think we successfully flattened that back out. True test to come when we go to put it back on the stove, but I think we got it. Okay, I'm going to reassemble this generator. First, I'm going to put the needle through the spring. And since this is original to it, I'm going to put it back in. Most people just throw these away, but I'm going to do it like that. That way I can force the whole thing up through the generator tube without hurting that needle. Alright, generator's completed. Okay, if y'all remember when we took this assembly apart, that eccentric block was turned in and the pricker was shoved all the way up inside the generator, and somebody just bolted it back down like that, and it wouldn't go tight enough because the needle wasn't up inside there, and they had put a packing in behind that to try to pack that generator in there tighter. So hopefully they didn't. Oh yeah, they did too. Now I'm looking at it through the camera. They've over tightened that generator, and they've split it right there at the end. That's why they had the packing in there where the needle wouldn't allow that needle to go all the way in there, and it was holding that generator out, and they've over tightened it. So we are definitely going to need a new generator. See that hairline crack right there? There you go, perfect. You can see it. Alright buddy, definitely got to have a new generator. Anyway, that needle should have hooked in that eccentric block like that instead of on top of it. So if it had been hooked in there, that could have tightened all the way back down without hurting the eccentric block, or without hurting the generator. Okay, I guess we can go ahead and finish assembling this thing except for the generator. Got everything boiled in vinegar. Okay, we got to thread that fuel pickup tube back on there. 5/16, tighten it back down. I'm going to put a little thread locker. That's all you're going to need. Alright, collar, feed through that plate, arm will feed right through that slot. Take your mixing chamber, insert the threaded part through there, set it back down, line up your holes. Just feed it through there. Bring that 1/2 inch nut down, give you some play. Feed it through the end of it through the mixing chamber. Take your 1/2 inch wrench. Just tighten that back down on that bracket. Just make sure your assembly is slid all the way in there. Just push that gas line right back up in place. Take your 7/16. Just thread that right back in place. Put the valve wheel back on. Make sure it's in the off position. Line your plate back up. Screw in. Tighten it down. Okay, we put our little rubber tip back on this back on the tip cleaner. As you can see, it turns all the way around now like it's supposed to. Okay, I'm just putting this grate back on. Just put one screw in about halfway. I'll get the next one started, same thing about halfway. I won't tighten them down until I get them all in there. Okay, it worked. We got the grate flattened back out and put the check valve back in. If y'all remember, we had this leather pump cup soaking in neat's foot oil. Just going to massage it, kind of stretch that flare back out a little bit so we get a good seal in there. Okay, just going to start that at the bottom. Make sure the bottom is in. Take your fingers, just go around it, mash that leather down until it fits in there. Uh-oh, forgot my stem. Never forget your stem. Line up the hose on your pump retainer. Get your clip. Just put it in one side. Small screwdriver. Just put behind that clip. Just kind of stretch it out there. Try to work it up in that hole. Snap. And that's done. Okay, now we can put the new fuel cap gasket in. Put a little bit of oil in it for lubrication. Make sure it slides down in there properly. Remember not to use the sharp end of the pick. I'm just using that back curve. Smashing that gasket in all the way around. Making sure it seats properly. Okay, we got the gasket properly seated. Drop it down on the fount. Screw down the cap. And then you put your screw in. Make sure your cap is tight. Tighten the screw. And I filled it up. So let's see what we got here. Preheat the generator. That's the best way to light these old Coleman stoves and lanterns. Get that generator warm before you try to light it. Crack that valve a quarter a turn. Alright, there we have it, buddy. Hope you like it. Pretty much burning like new. Nice, beautiful blue flame. Good hiss going. A few little yellow flames jumping there, but they should burn out over time. But she's burning. All right, y'all know the routine. Like, share, subscribe. God bless.